Wow. Freddie Roach, trainer of Manny Pacquiao, says that Filipino against Mexican sells well, but Filipino against a black fighter, it doesn't sell well in America. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Now, there's an exclusive interview on ABS-CBN News, which is a popular Filipino news station and website, and I've pulled tons of valuable information, usually regarding like Pacquiao's fights, on this site, right? They were like the first to break certain stories. I've seen them. There were reporters in Pacquiao's training camps and videos on YouTube from them, and they work closely with them. Freddie Roach had some very interesting things to say. Make sure you guys hit the bell notification for the latest and greatest in boxing. And I will link up in the description so you guys can hear verbatim or read verbatim what Freddie Roach said. And I'm going to read some pull quotes. Again, the link is in the description. Shout out to ABS-CBN News. And basically, Freddie Roach, I'll save my thoughts to the end. Freddie Roach says, who's Terence Crawford? Popularity-wise, I think Mikey Garcia is the best option because it will pit a Mexican versus a Filipino. But I like Danny Garcia the best. He said that Danny Garcia came all the way to my gym and they don't like me, but he shook my hand and said, I want Pacquiao. So according to his recollection, Danny Garcia, maybe his father or entourage, came into the wildcard gym, shook his hand and said, give me Pacquiao. I said, okay, but I have to talk to Michael Conks and Manny, right? And then he says he doesn't want the Crawford fight. I'll read directly what the article says. Roach says he didn't want the Crawford fight because, with the exception of Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao previous opponents against African-American boxers didn't sell well in the US. And I quote, Filipino against Mexican sells well, but Filipino against black, it doesn't sell well in America. Crawford has an audience, yes, in Nebraska, where he comes from. Link in the description. My thoughts, Freddie Roach, that what he's saying is some bullshit, right? Because first of all, I can't even think of a ton of black people other than Floyd Mayweather that Manny Pacquiao even fought. You know what I'm saying? Since he's been Pacquiao, not like when he took that fight on 2 weeks notice, when he had the dyed hair and the bangs. I'm talking about since he's been a star, right? You fought Ricky Hatton, you fought De La Hoya, you fought Cotto, you fought Margarito. So I can't even think of a ton. I can think of Shane Mosley, and I believe that did over 1 million. I can think of Josh Clottey. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head. However, they were in the AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play, and it had a large capacity, which I think was only recently passed up by Canelo. And Canelo is a Mexican star, and he's only once beaten, and Texas has a lot of Mexican boxing fans. So obviously, they're going to naturally gravitate to Canelo. You know what I mean? He's a big superstar. He's a rock star. So I don't even know what Freddie Roach is talking about in terms of Filipino versus black won't sell, because how can you say that when Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao broke all the live gates, the pay-per-view numbers, etc. Now, I'm not saying Terence Crawford is at the same level in terms of popularity as Floyd Mayweather, right? But that's arguably because of his own network and other people, because they're not giving Crawford his just due. But skill for skill, he's up there with the best of them. He's arguably the best fighter in this young class, this new generation, new batch of fighters, right? So popularity is different, because Broner, you could say Broner's more popular than Terence Crawford, but a lot of people wouldn't pick against Crawford, right? So Freddie Roach is really gibberish to me, because he's talking about who's Terence Crawford, the guy that beat your fighter Victor Postal when he was a champion. Remember that? And he lost your WBC belt. And he even said post-fight, he's like, yeah, you know, Terence Crawford, he's just too fast. Like, he was basically saying that Crawford was way too fast, too much speed, too much skill, But now you're saying, who is Terence Crawford?
Was seriously in jeopardy of your guy winning, and did you at any point tell them at any round that we need a knockout or else we're not going to win this fight?
Well, after the 4th round, things started going the other way, and by the time we're in about the 8th or 9th round, I told him that we do need a knockout to win the fight, and we, in the last 2 rounds, I urged him on, and he fought as hard as he could, and he did try, and I loved that he tried to win the fight, but it was just too much. The speed, you just can't keep up with him.
Since there's a lot of talk about the possibility of Terence fighting Manny in the fall, based on what you saw tonight, does it make you any more confident? Maybe it's a tougher fight based on how he fought, because he didn't really lose much in other fights?
I really have time to think about that, because Manny's retiring right now in the center, but I'm not sure what's next for Manny yet. We're still working on that. We'll see. I don't know.
Man, boxing, what the fans accept is an utter joke. And I just got to put it out there, cut and dry. What boxing fans, based on who they like, accept is an utter joke. Because Manny Pacquiao, I take nothing away from him. I tip his hat off, or tip my hat off to him for a legendary career. But this has been the MO from Team Pacquiao for a while. Shane Mosley went into Freddie Roach's gym too, and there's a video on it. And Freddie Roach admits that at the time, after the Margarito fight stuff, they didn't want to fight Shane Mosley. They're like, nah, I gotta fight you at a catch weight. You too strong, or something like that. And then he waited till Floyd beat him, and he had a rough fight where it was a draw with Sergio Mora. Then they fought him, right? Fighting Brandon Rios off of a loss to Mike Alvarado in the rematch. Brandon Rios moved up from 140 to 147. Facts. And then Pacquiao fought him in Macau, China. Facts. Chris Algieri barely escaped Ruslan Provodnikov and was badly hurt, wounded with a messed up eye. And he kind of won a very tight, close fight, highly contested, split decision victory. Then you bring him up in weight, fight him at a catch weight. Now you're fighting Jeff Horn. My name is Jeff. Nobody even knows who he is. You know what I mean? So once again, this is the quintessential of cherry picking. You want to fight Danny Garcia, who just lost, so wait for Keith Thurman to beat him. Yeah. So Manny Pacquiao's a champion. I don't care about, oh, he's a legend, so take it easy on him. No. Cotto, I don't like the Kamagai fight, another Freddie Roach fighter. I don't like it. But in his defense, he's not a champion. I don't even know if he's ranked. Kamagai's not ranked. And even though they're fighting for a vacant belt, it's different than Cotto actually having the belt. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao has the WBO belt at 47. Cotto and Kamagai are fighting for the WBO belt at 154. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different because Canelo moved up in weight, so he relinquished that 154 title. Now it's available, and Cotto's a legend, so they let him fight for it. So I'm not even a fan of that fight, but at least he's coming off of a loss and a long layoff. Pacquiao just beat the champion, Jesse Vargas, right? And Bradley before that. And so he's not coming off of a loss. The Mayweather loss was 2-3 fights ago or whatever. So he has 2 wins at least in a row, and he's a champion. And you're talking about fighting Danny Garcia now, but he was undefeated, whether people want to call him Gift Garcia and all that dumb stuff. When he was still undefeated, though, and he had that O intact, there was no committal to making that fight. Mikey Garcia, another person. Why are we talking? First of all, obviously Freddie Roach didn't know 2 days ago necessarily that Broner versus Mikey Garcia was a thing, because it just got announced today, and this article's from 2 days ago. Link in the description. So I get that, but even still, Mikey Garcia is a lightweight champion. Lightweight, 135. He's moving up one division for Broner to 140. So why are we even talking about Mikey Garcia unless Pacquiao's coming down to 35, or if he's going to come down to 140, which I haven't seen him. He looks small now to me, but I haven't seen him fight at 140. I think the closest maybe was the 143 versus Chris Algieri in recent memory. Why didn't you fight Brandon Rios at 140? You know, he's a big, strong kid. Instead of making him off of a loss, move up to 147. Because, again, Team Pacquiao wants every strategic advantage in the book. And I guess fair play. I mean, everyone wants some kind of advantage. You know what I mean? Canelo brought down Chavez Jr., take some steam off the punches, make him struggle even more to make weight. You know what I mean? So everybody, to a degree, does it. You know what I mean? Floyd fought Canelo at a catchweight of 152. There's disputes on who initiated it, but I mean, I get it. But Pacquiao's whole career is riddled with this, and then it's so brazen. They tell you who they don't want to fight, and like let's be real. The two Garcias that Freddie Roach mentioned, Danny and Mikey, they're both slow, much slower than Pacquiao, right? Now all of a sudden, Terence Crawford doesn't sell because African American fighters versus a Filipino don't sell. Why'd you fight Bradley 3 times? You see, man, this is too. I might even come back as Ego Valley, man, because this is too easy to chop up. You know what I mean? Why'd you fight Tim Bradley 3 times if African Americans don't sell? But again, once there's a threat, known threat, Crawford. If you don't agree with this statement, hit the unsubscribe button, because I don't respect your opinion, because you don't know shit about boxing. Terence Crawford is faster than Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia both of them individually. Now, if anyone disagrees that Terence Crawford has better overall speed, hand speed, ring IQ speed, and foot speed, again, hit that unsubscribe button, because you don't know shit about boxing. It's very apparent. No shade to Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia, both brilliant fighters, but Danny Garcia is not known as the speediest guy. You know what I'm saying? That's why he struggled with Amir Khan for the first 2 rounds, because he had to adjust to his speed, and he has slow feet. Mikey Garcia, and I told you this when I was talking about the Broner fight, he might have some issue with Broner's speed because he is slower. Even though he's methodical, he's technical, and has great basics and fundamentals intact, a great jab. He showed you that in his last fight. But, you know what I mean, speed kills. And we all know Terence Crawford is the fastest name. Once again, they don't want nobody faster than Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao can be the only one with the speed. You know what I mean? Pacquiao versus Brandon Rios. Pacquiao versus Margarito. But the moment you mention a Terence Crawford, it's all of a sudden, oh, Terence Crawford, who is that? That's the guy that was in the opposite corner from you, and he took your champion's belt, Victor Postal. You know what I'm saying? So it's bad what they do to that dude, Bud, man. Just give it up. Just say Bud is the king. We on a farewell tour or whatever you want, and just let that man live. But to keep acting like, oh, it's because black versus Filipino won't sell. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what about a mixed kid like Keith Thurman? He's biracial. Fight him. They'll tune in because he's half white. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to fight him either. You want to fight again, Team Pacquiao. You want to fight the styles that you believe, that Freddie Roach believes are the most tailor-made for Pacquiao. And I'm not saying Danny Garcia or Mikey Garcia have no shot, but Terence Crawford has a hell of a shot. He just dismantled an Olympic gold medalist. And it's always so funny. This is how boxing works, right? It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Mexican, purple, green, or what have you. But it's so funny that in the world of boxing, that when fighters look very hard to beat, Golovkin, Terence Crawford, or whoever, Anthony Joshua, whoever, right? When they look indestructible, like they're just mowing guys down and outboxing the hell out of them or whatever, then all of a sudden you hear even more people put their foot down as to why we shouldn't fight that guy. Like, oh, Terence Crawford, he doesn't sell, he doesn't put asses in the seats. Oh, Rigondeaux, he's boring. He can't sell out his mom's living room in Cuba, right? You don't hear anybody calling for those fights. Golovkin, when he was steamrolling dudes, knocking them all out, 23. You didn't hear the Billy Joe Saunders of the world and the Canelo jumping up for joy to fight him, or Chris Eubank, or whoever, right? Then Golovkin looks more vulnerable, more human in his last 2 fights, Kell Brook and Danny Jacobs. Now Canelo's fighting him. All of a sudden, Billy Joe Saunders like, I got my pen, I want a couple of things me way. You know what I mean? And now he's doing that, right? So when the fighter's doing good, there's tons of excuses. Like Terence Crawford's doing great for his career. He needs more exposure from mainstream media. They should be celebrating him. Lomachenko's great. He's a terrific fighter, but Crawford, that's easy money. You know what I mean? The way he's been looking. And for his career, he's been looking spectacular. And he even dethroned the Freddie Roach guy. So he knows Terence Crawford, but you hear Freddie Roach, who's Terence Crawford? Really? And you like, he says, I quote, but I like Danny Garcia the best. What a quinkydink. You like the guy who just lost, who is no longer undefeated. He was undefeated through Zab Judah, Eric Morales, Lucas Matisse, Mauricio Herrera, even though people disagreed. The Lamont Peterson, even though people disagreed. Paulie Malignaggi, Robert Guerrero, all these fights. Now you like Danny Garcia the best after he loses to Keith Thurman. Unbelievable. Why not fight Errol Spence? Oh, I forgot. Because a Filipino versus a black won't sell. And that, to me, that's some cop-out stuff. I don't care who's mad at this video. I don't care if Freddie Roach sees it or hears it or anything. This is my truest thoughts. And I will, like I said, there will be justice out this motherfucker. And you can't dictate boxing by who likes what and what race, because truth be told, there's a lot of African American fighters that are prominent at welterweight. You know what I'm saying? So because you in your personal opinion believe a Filipino and a black fighter won't do good numbers based on whatever you're basing it off, even though, like I said, Shane Mosley did good numbers, Josh Clottey, I don't remember the numbers, but I remember it was lit in the AT&T Stadium, right? Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao broke all records. So you're just assuming, which is very stereotypical, that based on past fights with Pacquiao, I guess, that it won't sell. That's a cop-out, and you can't avoid that, because, you know what I mean? What if Canelo says, man, this is what's wrong with boxing, I'm gonna tell you guys straight up. What if Canelo were to say, oh, who's popping from Kazakhstan? A fighter from Kazakhstan won't sell. Golovkin, and the fact is, Golovkin doesn't have good pay-per-view numbers. You know what I'm saying? His pay-per-view outings, both of them, Lemieux and Jacobs, none of them were great. You know what I mean? But what if Canelo were to say that? How offended would the boxing world be if he was like, oh, a Mexican versus a guy from Kazakhstan, that just won't sell, man. No can do. I'm going to fight Angulo in a rematch because two Mexicans always sell. Yeah, you know what I mean? This is crazy what Freddie Roach is talking about. And again, you can't help what somebody, their national heritage and what they are, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of top level black talent at the welterweight division, so you're gonna pick and choose around all of them. Crawford, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman's biracial, you know what I mean? Floyd Mayweather rematch. Why do you want that rematch if a black won't sell versus a Filipino? You know what I mean? You want to pick around him to the guy that just lost. Let Danny Garcia get his footing back. I don't know when he came into the wild card and said I want Pacquiao, but I'm pretty sure it was when he was undefeated. You know what I mean? I don't know for a fact, but it's just crazy what Freddie Roach is talking about. Link in the description. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a detailed comment, because I can't wait to hear this. But just more excuses, and this is the same behavior that Pacquiao has had. Like, it's almost like, to be honest, it's almost like his career's been fabricated, because it's been so tailor-made to what works well with him, right? You know what I mean? So you didn't have a problem fighting a Filipino and a black fighter when he fought Clottey or Bradley 3 times. But now all of a sudden, when we get to the good black fighter, I'm not saying Bradley or Clottey weren't good black, but an in-prime, youthful guy with more power than Bradley and maybe even more speed, I would say. Now all of a sudden, you don't like that fight. Who's Crawford, and playing all these games and stuff. This is crazy, and it's crazy what fans expect. And you're fighting Jeff Horn, you know what I'm saying? So if you're really going to ridicule or say what doesn't sell and what does sell, what about that fight? What about Jeff Horn? I never even heard. I'm not even joking right now. I'm serious as a heart attack. I never even really heard of Jeff Horn until his name was being mentioned with Pacquiao, and that's the truth. Don't make me come back as Ego Valley. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.